So in addition to disaster recovery, proactive monitoring of workloads is very beneficial. Helps us to evaluate and ensure the ongoing efficiency and availability of any infrastructure. And this is important in an on-prem environment as well as a cloud environment. So workloads in Azure are really no different, but you do have the Azure Monitor service and alerts that provide this functionality. So monitoring is simply a collection or the act of collecting and analyzing data to determine the performance of an application, the health of an application, and ultimately the availability of that application. The Azure Monitor service is an actual service. Now, you do have multiple services that individually perform specific roles or tasks in the monitoring space. So I suppose instead of saying it's an actual service, we should say it's a collection of services that give us really a comprehensive solution for collecting, analyzing, and acting on data from both the application as well as the various Azure resources that are going to support it. So it's providing a number of different things. We can see insights into applications. We've got visualizations. We're going to see all of these. So the insights might tell us about the applications, the containers they're running on, or the virtual machines. Visualize, we're going to have different dashboards, views, and workbooks, things that can, reports that can be created. The ability to analyze metrics, analyze log files, the ability to create responses to alerts, or maybe one of the responses was the auto scale capability. And then we have the ability to integrate with other event hubs or logic apps that organizations may be using. In this demonstration, we're going to look at the Azure Monitor service. As we've discussed, it's important to proactively monitor things even if they are in the cloud, because that relates to the ongoing efficiency and performance of these resources. In the cloud, sometimes monitoring can show you that maybe you're paying too much, for a particular resource, and you don't need to be. So we want to take advantage of that, and I'm just going to kind of go through and show you some of the things that you can do. So just type in Azure Monitor, and you'll just see the monitor capability. So it is just monitor. But we can note here all of the different options that you have. Okay, so just kind of an advertisement telling you to get going. We can search logs, we can explore and visualize metrics, we can set up alerts and actions. So let's just click on this. Okay, so I'm just going to target my individual resource groups. And then we'll say, what do you want to look at? What exactly are we dealing with? Well, the virtual machine is probably going to be the one that gives me the most stuff. And so we'll do that and just hit apply. Okay, and then we're in the standard namespace, and notice here I can kind of just take a look. Here are the credits consumed. And let's see if we've got anything here. Well, that's fun. Actually, you know what? Let's go and check and make sure I'm in the right region. Yeah, okay. It is East US. All right, so, well, I mean, this is where you would be going to just kind of take a look at statistics and whatnot. I'll just go read writes per second, aggregation, that's that, and hit enter. And for whatever reason, I'm not getting any, any information here. So the other place we can do it, of course, is on the virtual machine itself. I mean, in this case, we can go to monitoring, and I don't know why the other one's not showing me anything. This is clearly showing me my average CPU usage, my network bytes that are consumed, disk bytes that are consumed, other kinds of things. And then down here, monitor at scale, get alerted to issues, get started with log analytics. So you have a lot of additional options. So we've just got kind of the general scan, and then we can go to Azure Monitor, and we can take a look at things. You've also got down here in Azure Monitor just monitoring virtual machines. And so it's just looking for all systems. This is going to show me the ones that are monitored and are not monitored. So you have to actually go in and configure it. And it's taking its sweet time doing that. Go back over to metrics, and again, we've got the same kind of thing where we can figure out exactly what we want to look at, specific resource types, and get a lot of good, valid monitoring information on that. So just keep this in mind. I mean, this is one of those things where if you're not in a production environment, there's really not any point to doing it. But in production environments, this can end up saving us a lot of money. Now, alerts are going to warn you of infrastructure issues that require immediate attention or that may in the future. And so there's a lot of benefits to doing this. I mean, it's a better notification system. All the newer alerts now use action groups, which are named groups of notifications and actions that can be reused multiple times. You have an integration of the log analytics alerts, so you can view those in the portal. Previously, those were in a separate portal. And you also have a separation of fired alerts and alert rules. Alert rules, as we'll see, will determine the condition that triggers an alert. Okay, that's a rule. The fired alerts is an instance of it firing. Those are separated, so it makes it a little bit easier to kind of monitor what's going on. So alert rules is how you will go in and identify the conditions that you want to be notified about. All right, so you have to create an alert rule. The alert rule would define the target resource. Okay, so it can be any Azure resource, virtual machine, storage account, whatever, application, SQL Server, any of those things. The signal, this is what's emitted by the target resource. It can be different kinds. We can be looking at metrics or activity logs or log entries or application insights. The criteria is a combination of the two. The criteria is the combination of signal and logic. Okay, so if you're saying, okay, the signal is, or what I'm looking for is CPU utilization above, a certain amount, and possibly adding to that like server response time or whatnot. Okay, so it's multiple criteria that will determine if the rule is executed. Then, of course, we have simple stuff like name and description. You got the severity, which ranges from 0 to 4, and then you have the action. What is actually going to be taken? Okay. Other things about those alert states. You can set the state of an alert to specify where it is in the resolution process. When all the criteria in a particular alert rule are met, then it's created or fired. It'll have the status of new. So that means the issue's been detected and hasn't yet been removed or reviewed, excuse me. Acknowledged means somebody has actually reviewed it, started working on it, and then closed, it's been resolved. All right, so those are the three states, and those are different from the monitoring conditions because the alert state is set by the user, whereas the monitoring conditions are set by the system based on these alert rules. In this demonstration, we're going to look at using alerts and creating alert rules so that we can be, notified if we have less than ideal performance. So we're going to start in the Azure Monitor area, as you might imagine, and then we'll just click Alerts. We can select to create a new alert rule. By the way, this is not the only place you could do this. Most of your resource blades, like virtual machines and vaults and whatnot, they also have alerts in the menu under monitoring, so you could create alerts from there as well. So here is just kind of a general, centralized area. So we're going to select a particular resource. Again, we can filter by your subscription. We can filter by resource type. So I'm just going to change this, say, to virtual machines. We can filter by the location. I can search, for, let's do Windows 10 or Win 10. Okay. So you can see there it's pretty easy. So I'm just going to do this on my virtual machine that we've been using. So just select that and then say done. Okay, then we've got the condition. What should the alert rule or what condition should trigger it? And so we have to click add a condition. And there's all kinds of things that we can look at. Okay. So CPU utilization, disk utilization. Again, at this point, you have to know exactly what you are looking for, of course, and have a reason to be kind of notified at this. All right, so let's go. Let's just say network out total. And then you can see, okay, this is over the last 6 hours. This is over the last 12 hours. This is, your total. So it kind of is nice. Because it gives you that information. You don't have to just come up with it. So let's say, okay, static threshold or dynamic threshold when the operator is greater than, and the aggregation is total, and say threshold value, let's say 100. Okay. Or actually, excuse me. There we go. 100 megabytes, roughly. Okay. And we can pick some of the other things, some of the other values or evaluations there with conditions. So whenever your total network output is greater than 100,000 bytes. And this is how long we're going to monitor it, and this is the estimated monthly cost of the monitoring, and then this is the action that we want to perform. And so we create these action groups. I'll say start, stop, VM notification. Okay, now you can create your own action groups if you'd like. I'm just going to choose the start, stop. Okay. We'll specify the rule, network output. We're going to save it here. What's the severity level? So is it critical? Is it, I'm going to change this to a warning, and we're just going to then click create. Okay. So it'll create that alert rule based on the logic that we give it. Once it's deployed, of course, we are going to be able to see it here. I'll just have to refresh. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. That's where the alerts are. We'll go click on alert rules, and we would be able to see those. All right. And just to decide, or then we can go in and create additional rules for other things. So totally just a demonstration here, not necessarily even a realistic thing that you would be tracking. But this is all about understanding the cost that it takes to operate in the Azure cloud. Okay. Understanding, in some cases, performance in situations where we might want to increase it. So you think about the alerts that you want to create based on the particular situation that you find yourself in, and then we can come in here into the monitor utility and create them.